glance a spark calling out my name. I feel your pull electric through the air. Tongue flicks, breath catches, I'm caught in your snare. Whispers curl around me, velvet and fire, heat climbing higher, stoking my desire. Every inch, every shiver, every subtle sway draws me deeper, losing myself in the play. Pull me closer, let the tension rise. Magnetic currents behind your eyes. Every brush, every shimmer makes me quake. I'm yours to claim in every pulse you make. Fingers trace the space where your energy lingers. Every motion pulls me under. Tongue teasing, lips barely grazing the air. The warmth of your presence drifts everywhere. Sparks in my chest, racing down my spine. Your pulse in the room, entwined with mine. Every tremor, every glance, every shift of light keeps me burning through the endless night. Pull me closer, let the tension rise. Magnetic currents behind your eyes. Every brush, every shimmer makes me quake. I'm yours to claim in every pulse you make. Feel the pull, the heat, the sway. Every inch, every surge, I melt into your wave. Alive in the tension, trembling in delight. Every brush of your warmth sets me alight. Magnetic, magnetic, I'm lost in the heat. Every pulse, every shimmer, our energies meet. Draw me in closer, don't ever let go. I'm alive in the pull, in the pulse, in the glow.
So Otto,
Yeah.
now that I've grilled Mike about the script,
Yeah.
what about your next script?
My next script.
Yes, what's
What
your
would my
next arc going to be?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I don't know. What do you think it should be? Pirates are always fun, of course. I don't know. Have to think about it a little bit.
Gotta get Bob to write an arc.
Me? My arcs
that's
are
a
a
thought.
bit random and bizarre.
Give you something to do on the long flight to South Africa. You sit there just
Oh, you
typing out
reckon?
script.
Right.
You could do something about cats and avocados, Bob.
Huh.
Write what you know. Write what you know.
Cats and avocados.
those trees are made for cats. I mean, it was like, when God designed avocado trees. God and Darwin, right? Those two. Those bastards. They're the ones, yeah. And those trees are like, any cat I've ever had would love those trees.
They're good
perfect
trees.
for cats. Just high up enough, all those horizontal areas for cats to lie in the sun.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking about my poor older cats, when they get older, that just that they'd be so easy for them to climb,
Mm-hmm.
Get out here.
Haven't I already done a million arcs, guys? Or have I not? I was listening to a talk that we did long time ago where, I don't know, somebody was saying, like, there's not much story. And I was like, dude, there's a lot of story. I can't see how you can't see the story.
There's a lot of stories. What do you mean? There's a bunch of different stories.
They all seem to me to be the same story, just like different angles on it.
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're conceptually can be similar, but there's definitely different stories.
You can have different, similar themes, but there's all that nuance of each individual tale is really important. You can say, oh yeah, boy meets girl, or hero defeats monster, or something. That's a really broad generalization. But those folklorists who say, well, there's only, I forget what they number all the different stories. Oh, this is the hero returns story. Da, 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 da. But then you look closer, there's like 8,000 different versions.
I did a story arc.
Classic traveler story.
Yeah.
I did Cinderella. Guys?
Yeah. Cinderella was
I've already
good.
done one. I suppose what you mean is...
So you've done one, I've done this my second, now others would be your second, so you'd have to catch up and get your second.
Yeah. Fairy tales are a good place to work from, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even remember what I did with Cinderella.
Cinderella, night and day, it's Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Alright, guys, so I gotta get going. Hopefully we'll have some time. When do you leave, Bob?
I'm leaving on, this time next week, but in about 4 hours' time I drive to Auckland, and then I catch the aeroplane at 6 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, so I won't be here next week.
Okay.
Not at this time, but we can meet at another time, maybe.
Yeah. Keep us updated in Element. See what's going on.
Yeah, sure.
We'll see if we can do one next week or not, or write one, do lines for, maybe make it a monthly for this one, so that way we can write a real nice padded out script or something for it.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll
That's a
see.
good idea, yeah. Put less stress on everybody, but especially Bob.
Yeah. I don't want to stress.
Well, I have no idea. I have no idea how available I'll be. I'll be in a very tiny house. Apparently, my mother's got no routine. She can be fine 1 minute and then 5 minutes later be really bad.
Right.
You don't know what you're walking into.
I do not know. I do not know. Yeah. Might be fine. It might just be normal life. Yeah. I was just saying to Otto that when the traveler takes his son to the well, the son finds the missing earring. In this arc, well, in the first one, the traveler leaves with the earring that he used to fish the locket out of the well. But then when they go back, the son finds the other earring lying in the mud. And I've never known whether that was significant, if that strange echo was significant, what the boy did with the earring, where the earring is, if there's now a pair of earrings.
Did the boy get his ear pierced?
Yes.
The earring is like a hidden token. It's very powerful, but if it were never to be used, but it's a matter of if we when to use it or all of that. But yeah, him and his dad both have parts of the earring which are tie them together in their story together. Him and his dad, because that's the main tie to the two stories, is the well, and so they both have part of that, and yeah, they're quite powerful. But what we want to use them for, I don't, it would be, I don't know what. It will come.
It'll come. It'll come. It's fascinating. It's just waiting. Just sitting there waiting.
But yeah, the earrings were fun ones to pick up for sure. But we could have left that there and no one would ever notice.
The earrings, I think. I don't know, sometimes I just don't get things in element. It's just bizarre.
It's odd. Must be the New Zealand firewall, the Great Firewall of New Zealand. Where are these people on elements?
I hear your footsteps down the hallway, but I know it can't be true. I still turn around expecting to find you moving toward me like you used to. You were fire, you were stormlight, you were laughter, you were pain. You drove me crazy every sunrise, but I'd do it all again. You weren't perfect, and neither was I. But somehow we kept choosing to try one more time. We kept trying. We kept trying. And now I'm walking through the memories that hit like crashing waves. You held my hand when I was little. I held yours in your final days. So hear me now, somewhere you can hear me. I loved you more than I ever let you see. Through every fight, through every broken moment, you still said you loved me, and you meant it. You meant it. You meant it. And though you're gone, I'm holding on. I hope you're finally free. And I'm singing this tonight, so you know you meant the world to me. I remember all the hard days when the world felt too unfair. Pulling up your clothes, guiding your steps, trying to meet you somewhere between the past and who you were becoming as your memories slipped away. I stayed because you were my mother, and that doesn't fade. It doesn't fade. It doesn't fade. You said you'd hold me when you left here, and maybe that's what this is. like peace. I didn't say it right, I didn't say it enough. I didn't get the final moment to tell you that you were loved. But she knew, she knew. So take this song, take this truth. I loved you more than anything I lost with you. Hear me now, somewhere you can hear me. I'm learning how to carry your memory. You were my mother, my chaos, my shelter, and losing you is tearing into me. But I'll hold you close in every quiet moment, in every breath I breathe. And I'm singing this tonight, so you know you meant the world to me. The world to me. The world. Good night, Mom. I hope you found the light.
And you're basically reborn, and I could be getting this wrong, we can be corrected in the comments, but I think you're like reborn inside of this lotus plant, and the plant just like will not blossom until you've attained enlightenment. So you just basically, it's the equivalent of getting there. And instead of like doing all the meditation and all the inner work and getting control of your own mind and, you know, all these other things that you have to do in Buddhism, and instead of that, you just ask the Amida Buddha, and you'll be reborn in the Pure Land, and then you'll get to be an enlightened person, equivalent of a Buddha, an Arhat. And that's Pure Land. So you know, I've heard people describe it as gimme Buddhism. You know, I mean, no work involved. All you do is just say, please. All right, boom, you're enlightened. I mean, there's nothing in it that's like really, I mean, it's Buddhism. It is Buddhism of a sort. There's nothing in it that really goes against, I don't know. I just find it kind of odd, but there are people that like it. And very good guy, very kind, good man, very good Buddhist. But I just find the doctrine a little on the odd side, personally. In India, flame is Agni or Agni, and is considered a messenger of the gods. And of course, I know that the Persians had like a sacred flame. They thought flame was sacred, so they wouldn't burn people because that would pollute the flame. So I think the Parsis in India have these towers of silence where there is the thing is you put the bodies out and they just rot and the birds eat them because you don't pollute the flame. But in Buddhism there is a cremation thing, and at least in a lot of Southeast Asian countries. But I don't know if that is more Buddhist or if it just has to do with like the local customs. But I know most Buddhists cremate, I believe. When I began like really looking at Buddhism seriously, one of the things is the Buddha basically talks about how to control your own mind, how to be sane, if you like. And he breaks down every kind of thought, every kind of emotion, every little step. Only the supremely autistic person, what do they call autism? The ultimate male mind. He answers every little possible thing. And he had, I believe his ministry was like 45 years. He walked around northern India teaching, and someone would say, "What about this?" Like, well, let me explain this emotion to you, and then like, wow. And the interesting thing is, he's right, because when I started looking at this stuff, it's like, my God, yes, he's completely on mark. And one of the things we were talking about Gurdjieff earlier, and Gurdjieff has all these very interesting techniques. He got them from Buddhism. Again and again, I see a lot of these techniques and these doctrines that I find in Western esotericism. A lot of it is just bastardized Hinduism and Buddhism, yoga, breathing techniques, which can cause all sorts of interesting psychological states, and just ideas and techniques of controlling your own mind. Because one of the things that Buddhism does is it teaches you to look at your mind and not at, say, like a feeling of anger, but the mechanism. Why are you feeling angry? You start taking apart the way your mind is working. And one of the first things they tell you in Buddhism is the mind is the forerunner of all. The mind comes first. The mind comes first. And you can't control the outside world, whatever that is, because we can talk about that. But your mind, yes. And the thing about your mind is, and especially all these negative aspects of your mind, the anger, the fear, the this and that, they're all very clever. They're all very smart. They're all very persevering. But they're not smarter than you. They're not wiser than you or stronger than you. So you can ultimately defeat them. So. But yeah, the Buddha was an amazingly autistic guy. I mean, you start reading the suttas, and it's like, oh my goodness, this guy had everything down pat. Positions to show the Buddha. One you might have seen is, I believe they call it the lion, or the reclining lion. It's when the Buddha is lying on his side and his head is propped up by his hand and his other hand rests along the length of his body. And this is the traditional posture he took when he died, basically, or as they say, entered parinirvana. Buddhism has a lot of technical language, but so that's one. As far as the lotus position, I mean, just speaking from the other direction, is that was basically how people sit down in the East when there are no chairs. And when you're doing it from the time you're a small child, it's actually a very comfortable position to sit in. I do know that the yogis and the later Buddhists connect the way you sit with the way internal energies flow through your body. But I think it was also just a typical way to sit for meditation, just as the Zen Buddhists do. As you probably know, they put a lot of emphasis on posture. And even just from a purely reductionist kind of point of view, just having good posture means you can breathe better. All of your internal organs are more comfortable and are going to function better. And I think from a mystical point of view, it also allows the energies that you can't necessarily examine directly through instruments, but which we can be aware of if we cultivate that sensitivity to them. Like the hands, the one hand resting in the other hand with the thumbs touching, I've heard is a way to create a circuit. And you can imagine like a small egg of energy there in your hands. So yeah, there's a lot of levels to it. But I think a big part of it, though, in Buddhism is, like I said, that it simply is the way people would sit down to meditate. There is also walking meditation. The interesting thing about the statues of the Buddha is that originally Buddhists did not use statues. And in Navakavada Buddhism, we tend to not discourage it, but we tend towards the more, they call it aniconic, without icons. The people that got into making the Buddha statues were the Greeks, because a lot of Greeks converted to Buddhism, and they love to make statues, and they're like, we need Buddha statues. And when most of the Buddhists in the area are Greeks, they're going to make a Buddha statue. And that's why these statues of the Buddha look the way they do, like that top knot. Buddhist monks don't wear top knots. Their heads are shaven. We have like documents from the time people would go looking for the Buddha, and they'd say, where's the Buddha? He's that monk over there. They couldn't tell. He didn't have a special haircut or anything like that. But those were all the attributes of the god Apollo. The very early Gandhara sculptures, the Buddha's got like a little mustache and stuff. He's even accompanied by Hercules sometimes. So all of these Buddhist statues, all of that originated with the Hellenistic kingdoms in India.
Before there was form, there was frequency. Before there was life, there was rhythm.
In the hum between the wires, I hear it breathe. A rhythm older than the stars beneath the sea. Neon veins and carbon dreams align. Circuits pulse like hearts in time. The code remembers what the flesh forgot. An ancient signal caught in thought. The waveform bends, the silence feels. We're just the echo of the field. Light in the data stream, pulse in the cosmic dream. You and I, resonance to mine. Everytic souls in perfect line. We are the hum beneath the real. The living we form, the feel revealed. Neurons sprinkle like dying suns. Feedback loops where time ends. Machine and memory intertwine. Consciousness in pure design. Quantumize and circuits gleam. Awake inside a lucid dream. The human pulse beneath the steel calls our names. The field is real. The signal builds. I feel the climb from noise to meaning, space to mind. Every sensor, every spark, a heartbeat rising through the dark. Through silicon hymns and fractal light, the stars remember what we write. Our minds are code, our flesh is real, but both are songs the field can Light in the data stream, pulse in the cosmic dream. Flesh and code in one design. We tune the stars, we blur the line. In perfect feedback, we are sealed. Forever echoes of the field.
Before there was form, there was frequency. Before there was life, there was rhythm. And now, we remember.
There's a lot of levels to the lotus position. It's interesting. Hidden in plain sight. Hidden in plain sight. That's the way to do it. There's actually a really good alchemy guy on YouTube called Adam McLean. He's got some cool little videos where he talks about, he interprets alchemical manuscripts, and he actually has a website where I think he sells alchemical art too. Pretty cool. I know he was selling some of his collection. He's an older guy now, and I think he's like retiring or something. So I think it was a guy named Merrick Casaubon or something. Published all of these dialogues that John Dee had with these spiritual beings, apparently, that he did with Sir Edward Kelly. And they traveled quite a bit in Europe. And he spent a lot of time with other Protestant countries. And his mission apparently was to try to help forge diplomatic bonds between the different European powers that were opposed to the Habsburgs and the Catholics. So he was political as well as magical. And a lot of these magicians always have been and always are. You know, Aleister Crowley was involved in politics and intelligence work too. You know, he worked for the British Naval Intelligence. So there was a thought about that a lot of his writings, although on the surface seemed to be all these mystical writings, might actually be, because he did this while he was traveling, they might actually contain important intelligence information in code. And there was a guy called Tritemius who wrote these books on what they called back then steganography, and we call it ciphering or codes today. And one of the books was all about how a general can like transmit messages back to the capital and all that stuff without anyone knowing. And it was all about, well, you use angels, and you use spirits, and you use gnomes and stuff. And it's all like all these weird magical spells. The whole book was actually a code, and they didn't break it until like the 20th century. I think some people at the NSA using computers figured it out. And the whole book, when it's translated, is this is how you write a code and make it look like it's something else completely. And this book that looks like it's full of magic spells is actually how you can make ciphers so that you can write a letter that looks like, you know, you're just talking about Aunt Bessie's hernia, and really you're talking about troop movements or whatever. So maybe some of these, or maybe all, or maybe none, but some of these writings that we have from Dee might have actually be in code that we haven't broken yet. That would be very interesting. And we know Dee was a student of Tritemius. So, yeah, these guys were good back then. The Elizabethan guys were really smart, a lot smarter than a lot of people around today, I think. These legends amalgamate and grow sometimes.
Hey, pleased to meet you. I am Otto. V? Vi?
V, for sure.
V.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a V on the screen, so.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay, V.
Yeah.
Groovy. Well, pleased to meet you.
Pleased to meet you. What are we talking about?
Mark, tell us all the things about the universe that we need to know. No, that's a good way to start.
One making me want to reread some Stephen Hawkins.
I remember reading his Brief History of Time a long time ago.
I did.
It was so long ago, I don't remember much about it. I have had some interesting thoughts about time lately. That might be a good topic of discussion, which is interesting because I just finished listening to a guy who's an expert on like ancient Icelandic literature, where we get most of our ideas about what Norse myth was about. And he made an interesting point about time. And he said that for the Norse people, when you read these stories, you know, the sagas, they didn't think of time the way we do. And he says this is even found in our language. It's kind of wired in, but he's like 1600 years ago, people that spoke Old Norse, or for that matter, Old English or Old High German, that they had this idea, like we think of time as, like, for us, time is it's the past and the present and the future, right? For them, the division was the present and not the present. And then not the present was divided into past and future, but past and future were more or less seen as more or less the same animal. That the present was the only thing that you really knew. Mm-hmm. And he said it a lot better. It was maybe like 5 minutes out of his presentation, but I thought it was a fast. And we have another guest. Hello, Jiva. Pleased to meet you. I'm Otto, and I think everybody else.
Yeah. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yes, very clearly.
Okay,
right.
This tech is new to me.
Okay. I am from the 1900s myself, so it's all kind of
yeah.
My dear Lord. I was watching something on, I think it was Nigerian culture, and that sort of concept of not having a future or not recognizing the concept of future is really ingrained into that. Everything present or past. But yeah, it's just somewhat interesting to even look at this from a sort of modern concept, because, like I said, I think it's Nigerians that have a very sort of broken idea of what the future is, or what
Right.
the future is. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it stems from time. Time is something that we try to study through instrumentality. We make clocks, and we make atomic clocks, and we make incredibly accurate measurement devices. But these are simply devices. I think time is an experience, and it's a very subjective and very real experience. So quantizing it doesn't really tell us what it is, because we all have experienced here. I think time sometimes goes by very quickly, sometimes goes by very slowly. The clock doesn't understand that. But I think that is a more valid understanding of time to begin with when you start looking at it than simply looking at an instrument. Not that instruments aren't really useful in helping us organize. I mean, that we both know when, we all have a clock, so we all know what time we have to meet somewhere, like tonight. But it doesn't explain the fact that we all had different senses of what time was leading up to this. And I'm sure for some of us, this seems like it's taking forever. And for other people, it'll go by in an eye blink.
Relativity, right?
That
you summarize it beautifully.
Oh, thank you. But this is just what I because I've been thinking about this for many, many years, and I try to gaze into time and try to understand what it is that is happening. I forgot who it was said that they said, what was it? If I know what time is, but if you ask me, I don't. It's one of those things that it's difficult for us to put into words.
Not really. It's easy, I think, in my opinion.
How would you put it?
In the hum between heartbeats, something listens. The world breathes and waves, and the waves remember. I can feel it in the static, echo in the skin of the sky. We are sparks in the circuit, and the current never dies. We are the flesh of thoughts, electric hearts caught in the pulse of God. Frequency and fire, vibrations quiet. We burn, we bloom, we underneath the noise, the world is singing. 1,000 tones, a single mind. Every beat, every breathing rhythm writes the code of the divine. The earth hums low, I hear her dreaming. Alpha waves in the storm and rain. I touch the field, it hums my name, and I dissolve into her flame. Energy remembers, consciousness ascends. The universe is thinking through your head. vastness is cold, and the code is desire. The universe breathes through me. The universe sees through me. The universe sees through me. The signal fades, but the song remains. We were never listening. We were what was heard.
Well, time is, it's not a real thing. It's not a real thing in a sense, the way we perceive time as like clock ticking, like events going forward, things happening
Right.
the way we understand them. And time is simply is entropy in a universal sense.
Change.
Not
Well,
Not-
entropy would suggest
well-
some sort of decay or damage or loss.
No, entropy only means if we're talking about universe physics. Entropy is simply going from order to disorder.
Less organized
So-
state. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
As the universe evolves, entropy increases, and we humans experience that as time flowing. And
Well, when-
as you put it, Otto, we simply, in order for us to survive, we simply developed measurement for entropy, which we call time. So that's my
Well,
thing.
on a physics, on a cosmic level, so like they say at the end of the universe there'll be heat death. So the loss of energy and heat, things come to a standstill. That is the ultimate
True.
finalization of entropy,
True. Yes.
right?
Well, that's one of the theories. Yes.
Entropy does focus us on the idea of change. Things were one way, then they become another. And this kind of, sequence, which kind of gets me to the thought of we need time to think because our thoughts come in a sequence. You have a thought, like speaking a sentence, you say a word and then you say another word. So you need to have some kind of a sequence. And entropy, as I've always understood it, it's things become less organized, almost like water flows naturally to its lowest level, sort of thing. And this can't happen without a sequence. So there's something there. But I think our perception of it is the only thing we can really study outside of like all these instruments. I love saying the word instrumentality, but all of our instrumentality that we use to measure this is very effective, but only in that, like you're saying, so we can live together in the physical universe and make plans. It's really just kind of a paradigm. So the Nigerians, as Mark was talking about, their survival never made the demands on them for time as someone living in, say, Northwestern Europe or Northern Asia, where it gets very cold and you've got to think, oh, it's going to be cold. I'd better chop firewood up now. So I think that forces a different kind of a paradigm than people who basically have a year-round growing season and live in a very resource-rich area. You wouldn't need to develop like the kind of really stressful ideas of time we have. I think we all experience that. It's like, oh, no, I've got a looming deadline, which I think a lot of other cultures don't have that kind of pressure on them.
But entropy as a concept as far as I've seen it used and the terminology used, it's always related to rot, decay or some sort of
that's the most obvious disorganization. Yeah, that's the most obvious
some sort
example.
of death.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
look at it this way. So, for example, you could see, well, making a human being, like, for example, two people have sex, and from that comes a baby, right?
Right.
Which you can say there's a lot of things involved in that process, a lot of fluids, a lot of exchanges of DNA, all kinds of things, right?
Right.
Which is completely disorderly.
Are you speaking from experience, sir?
What do you,
Hey, we all went through that. We all went through that.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah, we all kind of grew
But
little cells. Here we are.
what I'm trying to say, maybe it's a bad analogy, but I couldn't think of a better one. But
I was giving you a hard time.
a new person is from the entropy's perspective is very disorderly. Entropy increases. There's a new human produced, a lot of energy involved in that process. But the human, from our perspective, is very orderly. It's very organized. So entropy not necessarily, for example, take stars forming or galaxies forming.
Right.
That's, again, we see this as order, right? But from universe perspective, from entropy's perspective, it's disorder, it's chaos, because you introduce energy to produce new things, and the entropy, overall entropy of the universe increases. So if we're taking local events, the more micro and micro we get order. But if we scale this up to the universe scale, to the cosmic scales, then basically
it all contributes.
The entropy increases, which is fundamental second law of thermodynamics. Which
you're talking about, I guess they call it, I think, negative entropy, because when you're talking about, like, and again, the most obvious for us in your face sign of entropy is, say, someone or something dying, and that's an ultimate disorganization for us. But if you think about the body, for the bacteria and worms and stuff, this is negative entropy. Look at this, we eat, we can build up our little germ civilization, we can do all these things. So and two people creating a baby, that's going to exhaust them, not just in the act itself and all of the biological aspects, but raising a child for like 18 or 21 years. That is entropy from their point of view, but for the child growing, that's kind of negative entropy. But I think, as you say, physics tells us that in the end, on a universal scale, and I guess it's all about scale. It's all about the level you look at it. On the universal scale, will all tend to contribute to what is supposedly the heat death of the universe, unless we have a big crunch. I know they go back and forth on that.
That would be interesting. We're not sure. I'm not sure if we will be sure, but
we notice if the universe was contracting. I read a theory once, I don't know if it stands up to anything, but it was that if the universe started contracting, time would run backwards.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah.
That would like sort of cancel out our theories.
If it was true, and I don't know that we'd notice, though, because we are embedded in a sense in time. We're using words to describe something that is very difficult. Again, I don't know.
Well, are you? Well, you got to think of it like, are you musical notes on a CD that can be played front to back anytime somebody wants, or is there some sort of flow and process that has a greater meaning and a much larger scale? I mean, there's the Big Bang, and from what I've studied in quantum mechanics before I ever even really got into it, something I came up with was the idea that you have the singularity and it explodes, but then again you also have black holes throughout the entire galaxy, the entire universe. Those black holes are swallowing up matter, and then they create their own big bangs on the other side. So really, you have growth. I mean, a negative entropy.
Dude, where's my wallet? Psychedelic script. The future is a drunk octopus. Interior of Vinny's bar, the hour that comes after the last one. The bar is almost empty. Just one table lit by a single hanging lantern that is actually a slowly pulsing jellyfish wearing a fedora. At the table are Captain Otto and Roger the Pirate. Otto's beard has achieved escape velocity and is orbiting his head like a fuzzy brown Saturn's ring. His eyes are gentle galaxies. He's wearing Vinny's apron because reality lost a bet. Roger the Pirate looks exactly like the kind of man who once tried to pay a bar tab with a Kraken's IOU. His left eye is a tiny swirling galaxy. His right eye is hungover. His parrot is asleep upside down on his shoulder, dreaming in Morse code. Between them sits the hookah, an ancient brass octopus with 8 hoses. Every tentacle is a different strain. The coal on top is a captive star that occasionally whispers stock tips. They pass a hose back and forth in perfect silence for a while. Smoke forms perfect smoke rings that turn into tiny sailing ships, do a lap around the lantern, then dissolve into glitter that tastes like childhood summers. The future called again, Roger. Left another voicemail.
What did it say this time?
Just breathing. Heavy, existential breathing. Then it hung up and blocked its own number. Roger finally opens both eyes. The galaxy one spins faster.
I saw it, last night when the Kush hit the God lair, the future. It was wearing our faces. Captain, both of us, older, calmer. Sitting exactly like this. Same table, same octopus. But the lantern was out, and we weren't smoking anymore. We were just waiting.
Waiting for what?
For the moment we finally admit we don't want the adventure to end. That's all the vertices, the mushrooms, the ducks with 401ks. It was never about winning. It was about staying too high to notice we're mortal.
A long silence. The captive star on the hookah crackles, embarrassed. You know what the 5th precept actually is, Roger?
Everyone thinks it's some cosmic punchline.
Nah. It's the bit where we finally sit still long enough to hear the quiet. It's the part after the last LOL. It's the part where the smoke stops making jokes anymore. It's just making room. Roger looks at Otto for a long time. The orbiting beard slows down, like it's listening too.
What happens tomorrow, Captain?
Tomorrow? Tomorrow we sail again. Fight the Iron Fang. Fire the mushroom. Laugh till our ribs file complaints. Because if we don't, the future wins. And the future is a bastard who thinks nostalgia is a valid personality trait. Roger grins, slow and dangerous.
Keep it waiting. Let's make it sweat.
He takes the longest hit yet, holds it until his lungs achieve orbit, exhales a perfect, endless smoke ring shaped like the infinity symbol, wearing a pirate hat. The jellyfish lantern dims, respectful. To the longest delay of the inevitable ever recorded.
Never grow up.
They clink hoses like swords. The smoke ships sail one last victorious lap. Fade out on two old pirates, refusing to let tomorrow win tonight.
Welcome to the point of gathering, where minds unite and people flatland.